David and Goliath, the battle that changed Israel's destiny. The story of David and Goliath is one of the most emblematic narratives in the Bible, found in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17. It not only captures the essence of the confrontation between the small and the great, but also symbolizes the victory of faith and courage about brute force and arrogance. This battle, which took place in the valley of Elah, forever changed the destiny of Israel. Goliath, a Philistine giant, challenged the Israelite army daily, instilling fear and despair in everyone. David, a young sheepherder, came forward to face the fearsome warrior, armed only with a sling and 5 stones. David's unshakable faith in God and astonishing courage gave him victory when a single stone thrown from his sling felled Goliath. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like for YouTube to notify you that a new video has already been released here. Thank you. David's victory over Goliath was not only a personal triumph, but it marked the beginning of his rise as the future king of Israel. This battle symbolizes the strength of faith and determination, showing that, with courage and confidence, even the most formidable challenges can be overcome. Historical context: the conflict between Israel and the Philistines. At that time, Israel was in constant conflict with the Philistines, a warlike people who inhabited the coastal region of modern-day Israel. The Philistines were known for their military prowess and skills with iron weapons, which gave them a significant advantage over many of their adversaries. During this period of tension and frequent battles, one of the most iconic stories in the Old Testament emerged. The Philistines, looking for a way to resolve the conflict decisively and without large-scale bloodshed, proposed a single combat that would decide the fate of the two armies. They chose Goliath of Gath as their champion. Goliath, a giant approximately 3 meters tall, was an intimidating figure, equipped with heavy armor and armed with a colossal spear. Goliath stood before the Israelite army daily, challenging anyone who dared face him in a duel. Its enormous size and impressive strength instilled fear and despair in the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. For 40 days, Goliath repeated his challenge, and during that time, none of Israel's warriors had the courage to accept battle. It was in this context that David, a young shepherd who would later become king of Israel, entered the scene. Sent to the battlefield to bring supplies to his brothers, David listened to Goliath's insults and challenges. Outraged by the blasphemy against God and the humiliation of his people, David decided to face the giant. Armed with only his faith, a sling, and 5 smooth river stones, David confronted Goliath. With a well-aimed blow, David threw a stone that hit the giant's forehead, knocking him down and killing him instantly. David's triumph over Goliath not only inspired the Israelites but also demoralized the Philistines, who fled in disarray. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like for YouTube to notify you that a new video has already been released here. Thank you. This episode has become an enduring symbol of courage and faith triumphing over brute force and intimidation. David's victory over Goliath marked a turning point in the struggle between Israel and the Philistines, highlighting the importance of trust in God and bravery in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The young shepherd ***. David, a young sheepherder and the youngest son of Jesse, was not a trained warrior. His simple life in the fields of Bethlehem consisted of tending his family's flock, guiding the sheep through the pastures and protecting them from predators. However, David's bravery was not limited to just caring for animals. His heart was filled with unshakable faith in the God of Israel. One day, his father Jesse asked David to go to the battlefield to bring supplies to his older brothers, who were in the Israeli army. Upon arriving, David was faced with a scene that deeply outraged him. Goliath, a Philistine giant, challenged the armies of Israel, mocking their abilities and, even worse, blaspheming the God of Israel. Fear dominated the Israelite soldiers, paralyzing them in the face of Goliath's provocations. David, moved by a mixture of courage and faith, could not remain silent. He questioned how it was possible that the soldiers would allow an uncircumcised Philistine to defy the living God. His indignation was evident, and he quickly offered to face the giant. Despite attempts by his brothers and other soldiers to dissuade him, David remained firm in his decision. Taken before King Saul, David explained his confidence. He related how he had killed lions and bears to protect his sheep and how, with God's help, he would do the same to Goliath. Convinced by the young shepherd's faith and determination, Saul allowed David to face the giant. He offered him his own armor, but David, not used to such clothing, preferred to rely on his sling and 5 smooth stones that he picked up from the stream. On the battlefield, Goliath laughed when he saw the young shepherd approaching. However, David, with impressive calm, declared that he came in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom Goliath had defied. With a single blow, David threw a stone with his sling, hitting the giant in the forehead and knocking him down. In a final act of bravery, David ran up to Goliath, took his sword and beheaded him, bringing a stunning victory to Israel. David's courage not only defeated a fearsome enemy, but also restored faith and hope on the battlefield. His story is a powerful reminder that faith in God and courage can enable even the most unlikely heroes to achieve great things. #### Faith and courage. King Saul reluctantly allowed David to face Goliath, but tried to equip him with his own armor. However, David, feeling uncomfortable with the weight and size of the equipment, chose to face Goliath with his own weapons: a staff, a sling, and 5 smooth stones taken from a stream. His true weapon, however, was his unshakable faith in God. David was a shepherd boy, not a trained warrior, but he possessed something that many men armed to the teeth did not have: an absolute confidence in divine power. He knew that victory would not come from sharp swords or shining shields, but from the strength that came from his faith. While everyone around him trembled in fear before the Philistine giant, David stood firm, his heart beating with the courage that only true faith can provide. When David approached Goliath on the battlefield, it was not the sight of a young man with a simple sling that terrified the giant, but the conviction in David's eyes, the certainty that he was not alone. David declared in a firm voice, "You come against me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts." With a stone and an act of courage, David overthrew the enemy who seemed invincible, proving that faith can overcome any adversity. The story of David and Goliath teaches us that true courage comes not from the absence of fear, but from the ability to move forward despite it. It's a powerful reminder that when we have faith, we are capable of facing even the biggest giants in our lives. Just like David, we can find the strength in our belief to overcome obstacles and achieve victories that seem impossible in the eyes of the world. Faith and courage go hand in hand. Faith gives us the vision to see beyond our circumstances, and courage gives us the strength to act on that vision. In the end, what matters is not the weapons we carry, but the faith we have and the courage we have to use it. The decisive battle. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like for YouTube to notify you that a new video has already been released here. Thank you. On the battlefield, the tension was palpable. On one side, the imposing giant Goliath, with his shining armor and the confidence of an invincible warrior. On the other, the young shepherd David, without armor, but armed with unshakable faith. Goliath, with his enormous size, ridiculed David. "Do you come to me with sticks?" mocked the giant, belittling the young man and his simple weapons. But David remained firm. He knew that the battle was not just physical, but spiritual. With a determined look, David ran towards the giant, moved by a courage that could only come from absolute trust in God. As he approached, David placed a stone in his sling, turned it dexterously and threw it with divine precision. The stone cut through the air with speed and force, hitting Goliath in the forehead. The impact was immediate and devastating. Goliath, stunned, fell face down on the ground, dead. Silence fell over the battlefield for a brief moment as the reality of David's victory dawned on everyone. David didn't hesitate. He ran to Goliath's inert body, grabbed the giant's huge sword and, with a single blow, cut off his head. Lifting the giant's head like a trophy, David confirmed his victory. The battle was decided, not by brute force, but by the faith and determination of a young shepherd. David's victory over Goliath became a symbol of courage, faith, and proof that, with God, even the smallest of men can overthrow the greatest of giants. The decisive battle was not just a physical confrontation, but a testament to the power of faith and determination in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. After David's victory over Goliath, the consequences were profound and far-reaching. The Philistines, terrified by the fall of their champion, scattered across the battlefield in disarray, while the Israelites, galvanized by David's courage, pursued them relentlessly, achieving a decisive victory over their ancestral enemies. This conquest not only saved Israel from the imminent Philistine threat, but also established David as a national hero. Over the years, his name became synonymous with courage and faith, inspiring future generations of Israelites. David's accession to the throne was not just a matter of military conquest, but also an event of spiritual and political significance. Recognized as God's chosen one, David led Israel with justice and wisdom, establishing a kingdom that flourished under his tutelage. His victory over Goliath was not just an isolated battle, but a crucial milestone in Israel's history, marking the beginning of an era of prosperity and territorial expansion. Under David's reign, Israel not only consolidated itself as a regional power, but also experienced a period of unity and stability that lasted for generations. Thus, David's victory over Goliath not only altered the immediate course of the war between the Israelites and the Philistines, but also had far-reaching consequences for the destiny of Israel as a nation. David, the courageous shepherd who became king, left a lasting legacy of faith, courage, and leadership that shaped the history of his people forever. For sure. Here is the text on the topic, legacy. In the fabric of human history, certain events transcend their own time, becoming eternal symbols of resilience and triumph. One such account is the epic confrontation between David and Goliath, which goes beyond the ancient chronicles to become a vivid metaphor for the human capacity to face and overcome challenges that seem insurmountable. In the ancient legend, David, a young shepherd without shining armor or physical power, dared to challenge Goliath, the imposing and feared giant. Armed only with a sling and unshakable faith, he confronted not just an opponent, but the very idea that brute force determines the outcome. In a gesture of impetuous courage, David threw a stone that not only felled Goliath, but echoed through the centuries as a testimony to the supremacy of determination over despair. The legacy of David and Goliath transcends ancient battlefields. It resonates with every soul who faces their own personal giants, be they professional challenges, personal crises, or social adversities. It is a reminder that, even in the face of the greatest adversity, faith in one's own potential and the courage to act can change the course of personal and collective history. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like for YouTube to notify you that a new video has already been released here. Thank you. Just as David became a symbol of overcoming, his legacy invites each of us to question self-imposed limitations and embrace the intrepid belief that, with determination, even the most formidable obstacles can be overcome. This is the essence of the David and Goliath legacy, a continual inspiration to challenge, persevere, and, above all, believe in the ability to transform disadvantages into lasting achievements.